During a fight, I told my wife, 35F, that she wouldn't be able to handle it without me, 34M, and it turns out that she can. My wife and I don't get into arguments often, and when we do, we usually communicate well afterwards, and things go back to normal. I often brag to my friends about how reasonable my wife is, and how I admire her ability to communicate and empathize. She has never held a grudge towards me, and is always there during my rough times. At least that was until today. Due to a fire, my wife is out of work, but is still able to have an income thanks to insurance she had. We mutually decided that she would stay home with our kids while out of work, although she doesn't really love the child caring. It is something we had discussed before making the decision to have kids, and honestly, if you didn't know, it would be hard to tell. She's a great mom, always present and loving to her kids, even when I can see she's struggling inside. I try to give my wife a lot of breaks, and we try to co-parent and split bedtime routines for the kids. Yesterday, it had snowed outside, and my daughter was home with my wife and son. I was working from home, so I was able to help my daughter with online school until noon. At the same time, my wife was with my son playing in the snow and plowing the sidewalks. After noon, my daughter joined them and had some friends come over to play. I worked all day, and when I went upstairs, it was total chaos. My wife was trying to get some laundry done, while my son had made a mess inside, and my daughter had fallen and hurt herself on the ice. Now I could sense that there was some tension in the air, so after we had dinner, I took care of cleaning up the table, hoping this would relieve some of her stress. After this, I went to the living room, and my wife approached me with the question if she could lay down for a bit. Now, I reacted wrong here and made a sarcastic face. I told her that after a hard day of work, I would like to take a shower and asked if she could take care of the cookies in the oven. This prompted her to say, "Never mind, forget that I asked." I immediately sensed that I said something wrong, so I tried to salvage the situation by saying that I would take care of it all, but it was too late. She got angry and told me that she had been running around all day, watching the kids, and that all she asked for was 20 minutes for herself, but apparently that was too much to ask. I got annoyed at this point, saying to her that she could take her break, but she was no longer listening. She started cleaning up the kitchen and helping the kids, to which I tried to help in order to overcompensate, but she simply took over the work. This prompted me to make a dumb comment, saying that, "I think you forget that I work all day," to which she sarcastically replied with, "Thanks for reminding me, I almost forgot." Now this situation has left me feeling like an ass. I get that she works hard caring for the kids, but I need to work hard too. I feel that not having her job and escape is making her more susceptible to these moments. She texted me the next day and expressed how upset she felt with my behavior and the way I acted towards her. She said she was feeding and taking care of the kids all day in the snow alone and still cleaned the entire house. I explained that I'm stressed at work and that I didn't get why she was so upset. I offered her a break, but she said she didn't want my pity breaks. She ended her texts with a, "Thanks for the apology, BTW." Now, normally my wife would text me, asking if I can get my daughter from dance on my way home yesterday, as I do this every week. I didn't hear anything, however, and when I got home, I found out that my wife had dropped and picked her up. This prompted me to confront my wife and said to her that I am very present with my children, and she should not make me out to be an absent father. She responded with saying that if she didn't manage my schedule with them, I would only see them a quarter of the time I did now, and that she was done managing me. Now I get all this. I should have just smiled and agreed when she asked for help, and I should have apologized after. But her reaction seems a bit extreme to me. She's having a fit and trying to ice me out of my relationship with my kids, which I think is so petty. Gone is the reasonable communicator. Please give me some advice and tell me how I'm wrong here. Update 1. So, after I received a ton of comments that I was in the wrong, I decided to apologize, and she made me sit down. We wrote down a list of things we did for the family and compared it with each other. Let's just say, hers was much longer. I apologized again, and she accepted, so I figured things would go back to normal, but they haven't. My wife used to include me in parenting our kids, as it was my task to pick them up from dance classes, and their bedtime was our split responsibility. I gave our kids baths and made dinner every evening. Now, since we had our fight, my wife hasn't asked me for any help with the kids. At first, I figured she was just being nice or wanted to prove a point, but it keeps happening. She doesn't even send them down to say goodnight anymore. I used to read to our kids every other day, but lately she is taking care of everything, and it seems that the kids don't even notice. Now I forgot to mention something last time. During our fight, I had said something really dumb along the lines of, "I'd like to see how long you can manage without me." It feels like she is trying to prove her point by showing me that I am replaceable. My wife has started running again, she often takes over cooking duties, and every night I come home to my perfectly happy wife, doing it all without me. It has made me feel empty inside, and I do not know what to do. How do I fix this? I don't even know where to begin at this point. I want to beg her to go back to how things were. Update 2. Thank you to the handful of people that reached out with advice. I realized that I was behaving like a total piece of trash and need to make this right. Believe it or not, I do want to be a good father and husband, and after this update, I'm going back to focusing my attention on my family. The other day, my wife had prepared dinner when I got home, and I didn't feel any tension in the air. After we cleaned up, I went upstairs and ran my wife a bath, put on a song she liked, and lit a few candles. I told her to go relax upstairs for the night, which surprised her, but she smiled and went on her way. I'm trying anything that I can in order to show her I do appreciate and love her and our family. I'm planning to do bedtime all week, and I'm putting in an effort to give her as many breaks as I can, because I feel she truly deserves them. I get that I come off as an awful person. I grew up in a not-so-great situation and didn't have the best role models growing up. I'm terrified of letting my children down, and I overcompensate by working too much. My new job came with a big pay increase, but the hours are longer, and I feel like I can never keep up. I've reached out to a few recruiters tonight, and even if it means taking a lesser income, I'm thinking about scaling back. Relationships are hard, and humans aren't perfect. For all the people telling me that my kids don't love me, and I'm a waste of space, just remember I'm an actual person, and reading that stuff is rough. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say for now. I'm going to get back to my wife and start planning out my long road of groveling and reconnecting. Update 3. It seems some people care for an update. I've taken a lot of time to really look at the man I've become, and I'm happy to say that my wife and I are 100% back to being a team. I've realized along the way that I wasn't stepping up the way I always wanted to, and promised my wife a partnership. It has been a month or so since our fight, and my wife keeps asking me to forget it happened, but I can't. I'm currently in therapy in order to help me sort through my overthinking. My wife has also started therapy because of the stress of losing her work. Her issues appear to stem from feeling useless without bringing in a paycheck, and was taking on too many tasks at home to overcompensate. She doesn't feel like she deserves breaks, and when she takes them, she feels awful about herself. I've been supporting her the best I can, and I often make sure she knows that I think she deserves breaks. Sometimes it works, and other times she tells me to stop fussing and leave her to work. Our newfound partnership has been working well, and I don't mind the extra work for the peace of mind it offers me. My wife is my everything, and her happiness is paramount. My kids are mostly clueless about all of this, and we both decided that we would not further involve them. So that's basically it. I've taken on the role as primary parent and get my kids to daycare and school, while my wife helps half of the time. It's now my responsibility to see who is doing what and coordinate things. She rebelled at first, but gave up her reign surprisingly easily, as it was clear that she needed a break. I have also decided to put my son back in full-time daycare in order to make it all work. That's all I have for now. Thanks all.